Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another Minecraft discussion. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and this is Giovanni. I think you know him from the woods, but now we're hanging out inside in the Zen Den. Our daughter kind of made this, what was used to be one of the girls' old rooms, into this beautiful, simple, feng shui, minimalist room, and we just love it. And so anyway, what I want to talk to you, actually it relates really, is about becoming a member of the 5 o'clock a.m. club. Before you hang up on me, because I'm sure lots of people might really want to. I don't know if you have any idea how great it is. It's so good. And we're going to talk about the things that have to kind of be in place for it to actually work. Because if you just try to tough it out for a few days, but you don't really want it, and you don't really want it for a reason, it's not going to work. Gee, come on. He's trying to give himself a little scratch there. He's giving us his best side. Okay, excellent. So as we've been talking about, the morning routine is huge for most famous, well-known, successful, however you want to, describe that, people who really are in the groove, in the zone, in the flow. And, I like to describe success. There's so many different ways, right? A lot of times people go straight to money, but that's really not it for me. It's a side effect, though, because you do what you love and the money will follow. That's that old book. I forget her name right now. I can almost see it. Anyway, do what you love and the money will follow. So money and every square footage and, the car, all that can follow and can and does follow when you're doing what you love. But for me, the whole success thing is being, living your highest vibe, most authentic self. When you're just sucking the marrow out of life. You're in love with your life. You're in love with you. And you're spreading the positivity all over the place, and whatever that means for your own purposes, the why you were on this earth kind of thing. And also when you're in that zone, you're feeling whole and complete, it then becomes very much easier to set boundaries. And for me, that's part of being successful too, is being able to set appropriate boundaries respectfully with not an ounce of guilt, not even that much. So anyway, big definition of success. And then all that other stuff tends to follow along, which is great. Usually when you're not thinking about or caring about it is how it works. So the 5 o'clock a.m. thing, obviously I don't know every single person out there. No one does. But as far as I read voraciously, I'm watching, uplifting YouTubes and things like that. I've watched, a million interviews with my good friend Oprah and all the, lots of great thinkers and influencers across the world and everything. And the high majority of them are not sleeper-inners. I'm just telling you. It's just it's the plain, simple truth. So one of the first things, actually, and I got to give some inspiration. I talk about this a lot, and I talk about this a lot, the morning routine, as you know. But I've been looking into new, YouTuber friends, potential friends, right? And Amy Landino has got a lot going on, so she inspired me about the phone thing, so specifically. So because she's an admitted would love to sleep in, but knows it's better to get up at 5 because she's got all kinds of projects going like I do. And the first one is to put your phone away. I would agree with that. I don't have my phone anywhere near my bedroom. It's out in the kitchen. And if you want to set your alarm, set the alarm on the phone in another room, which is what she does and also what I do, actually. I also have an Alexa, and she moves around. She's in her bedroom or she's out, depending on who's listening to music, out in the living room. But no matter what, I have to get up. And honestly, you don't want to be in that habit of checking your phone right away anyway. It's totally unhealthy. And it kind of insinuates a little bit of addiction. I'm just saying. You want to do other things and then check your phone. It's just healthier. So get the phone out of the way. It also prevents the tap, tap, tap on the snooze. If you're an unconscious or an alarm clock, whatever. My husband and I are kind of old school with that, but the alarm clocks tend to fall off his dresser for some reason. Anyway, if you're an unconscious snooze button hitter, you want to get that out of the way, whether it's a phone or an old school alarm clock or whatever, because we can do all kinds of things in our sleep, and we're just like, where'd that hour or 2 or 3 go? So get it out of the way. And second one, Amy talked about her too, but I actually already listened to Mel, and I actually already do her 5-second rule. That's how I get out of bed in the morning. That's during the day. Geez, I don't sleep in the day. That's how I get out of bed in the morning too. And so and I had not actually read Mel's book yet. However, I do know the rule from a friend of mine who actually has had conversations with her. So it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch. By the time you get from 5 to launch, your brain is making the shift from this awful idea of getting up now, especially in Vermont in the cold and dark, and actually doing something. And it works really, really well. And I think I've said it a lot of times. When I do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 launch, I say thank you. Actually, before the launch, I say thank you out my bay window. And I don't say any more than thank you, but I'm just thinking thank you for the gift of another day, really. Then I do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 launch thing, swing around, feet land on the ground, and I say thank you out loud. I don't say the rest of this, but in my head I'm thinking, as my feet hit the floor, so mind, body, spirit, my vertebrae are thankfully all healthy and in alignment. My feet are healthy, the whole health thing. And I say thank you, and then I head for the gratitude journal. So the third thing, well, my thing is the gratitude journal. That's what's next for me. I make hot tea, and Amy's is a little different. I make hot tea first, microwave 2 minutes, and usually before it beeps, I'm done with my I am grateful for, I am grateful for, I am grateful for. Gotta have those words if the neurons are gonna reprogram for a positive day and prime your day. Got to. So that's the third one. So the first one was put the phone away, so you have the alarm way out of the way. Secondly was the 5-second roar. I call it the launch. It was 5, which is what Mel calls it, I think. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 launch. And then the third one, for me, is get the caffeine going. Amy was talking about all the self-care stuff and the brushing your teeth and splashing cold water on your face and doing all of that. And that's also good. Other than the teeth thing, I don't do a whole lot of that. I do lotion at night, but whatever works for you. So the tea followed by the gratitude journal is my number 3. Tea and gratitude journal. Just get that thank you. The thankfulness is rolling out of you so fast. And then fourth is for her is caffeine. So after she does the whole self-care thing, then she does caffeine. Again, I guess for me that would be the gratitude journal. Tea, then gratitude journal. And then what else is? Oh, I love this. Amy did get me to think about this, I have to say. The rest I've already been kind of talking about. She got me to think about the why. Why am I getting up at this ungodly hour when everything in me says don't do it? Especially in northern Vermont. And we're fortunate enough to have a big house that isn't super well insulated. And we heat with wood, and the wood stoves are kind of like in the middle, kind of shaped like a boomerang. So unless you're right by those stoves and it's really cold, you got a fleece on and probably a hat, which is why a lot of videos of our hats. So you really got to have a good reason to climb out of that really cozy, warm bed in the winter months, because in this house, it's a little chilly. And so I thought of that when she was talking about this. And you really got to have the why. The me time is huge. I'm thinking, if you're a young mother, I got up early when I was, usually you're up anyway, but I mean, their kids get up early, but then there's 5 o'clock. They're not usually up that early, unless they're like babies, and that's, different. But when you're when I was a young mom, I got up early to have that time to myself, to just read something. And I had my Sarah Brednick's Simple Abundance. I read that for years, because it's in little short, like page and a half. There are a lot of books like that. Uplifting. Hers is seasonal. In February, she talks about, all the coziness and snow, and in April, like she's feng shuiing everything, and it was just such a nice treat. So the me time is huge, though probably that may not last forever, okay? Because it's big, especially, again, if you're a young parent, or maybe you're like in that middle sort of stage with the kids and they're teenagers. That's another good reason. You're racing into sports all over the place. So once they get home, like you're just flying around all night and night's kind of rushed. That's another good reason. But if you ask people, especially like the high rollers, like my good friend Oprah, I love her so much, and then you've got Tony Robbins and Gary Zukov, Eckhart Tolle. You got so many people out there who have morning routines that involve positive affirmations, gratitude definitely, and often something else. So many times people have a real big drive with getting up that early. Maybe you're in your 40s or 50s or early 60s or whatever, and you don't want to be at your full-time job anymore. Doesn't even mean it's terrible. Maybe you're fine there. You're just kind of satisfied or whatever, and now you've got a spark to start your own business or write a book, or I don't know. That is a big motivator. I remember when I was also in the same young mother time, I was also writing books. And so it was the me time was part of it, and the writing was part of it. I could just, it flowed. Once I got that tea in me, I just flowed right out of me. So if you have some kind of creative project going on, that's highly, highly, highly motivating. So you're gonna need a little more than the me time, like I said. Works for a while, or a hobby. Maybe it's the only time, like I used to decoupage chairs when the kids were little. I loved doing it. And that was also a good time to do that. Sometimes it's just you want to read or something, do something enjoyable, but as you don't want to just get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, especially in this house on the cold tile floor, and be like, what was this for? You know, like, let's climb back into bed. What was this for? You want it, it's got to be just, you really got some motivation. Also, the journaling is good, and I'm thinking of the morning pages came from, is her name Julia Cameron? She's the author of The Artist's Way, and she's a big fan of the morning pages because that's like, she's all centered around like the creatives. And if you have any kind of writer's block or whatever it is you're doing, painting or whatever, if you're a little blocked, when you write those morning pages, that is a quick way to get rid of whatever that block, whatever's standing in the way, because it's just, you're coming out of a deep sleep where the limbic system's, was just really wide awake, a lot of deep, deep buried thoughts, and it just, out it comes. So that's a good idea. Or journaling about going over goals or whatever like that. Good time to do that. And then I added one here. So 6 for me, the 5th one would be all the hobbies and all that stuff. Or your passion, to get to do something new with your life. 6 for me is guided meditation. Most famous people, at least that I'm aware of, the high rollers that I listen to and read and watch and all that stuff, have some sort of guided meditation. Joe Dispenza has some really good ones. I love listening to him. And he talks about, in addition to his guided meditations, he does it, if somebody doesn't, walk the talk, I'm like, I have no use. He does walk the talk. And he talks about how he gets up and he leaves himself a lot more time probably than many of us can do. He leaves himself 2 hours, but he said he doesn't actually use it. It's just like a mental thing. So he has time and he does other things. But I do a short one. Like 15 minutes is good. And and he talks about how the knowns, because you got to get rid of your thoughts. You got to get rid of all the chatter. And he tells himself the knowns, like the bills and the emails that you have to, and then like the Zoom calls that are lined up for that day. The knowns will all take care of themselves one way or the other. So just to kind of get rid of the chatter so that we can enter into even if it's 5 minutes. 5 minutes, as my oldest son would say, better than no minutes. So we just let that, so we can enter the area of the unknown where our really true, whole, complete spiritual being is free to then create. It's very difficult to create with all that flying through our minds. And then, I already said that part. Okay. To examine the drives, that would be the 7th one, is to examine your drive. I already said that. It kind of overlaps a little bit. To see, figure out what the passion is going on with you, because to know that why is really, really important. Like I said, when I was writing a book, I'm writing another one now. That is where I get most of my writing done, is in the morning, because I'm off doing everything at Champlain, and which I love. I'm happy teaching, I'm happy doing the well-being stuff. And that said, when I get home, I'm cognitively done. I'm very high energy, so I can enjoy my husband and maybe answer a few emails, because all that's easy, But to actually get creative and come up with a chapter at that hour is not going to happen. So that's why I do it in the morning. And then just realize why you were so motivated to get up at this hour, because it's got to be reinforcing. You've got to really sort of be looking forward to it. And if you can, go to bed earlier, because you're going to get that time back. But the thing is, you've got the time when there's a peaceful household. Whether you're, again, a parent of little kids, a parent of teenagers, or you're empty nesters. My husband and I are very recent empty nesters, so it's not like it's loud here. It's just so peaceful and amazing. And then there's such a feeling of satisfaction when you head off to wherever you work or whatever, that, wow, I got some shit done. You know what I mean? Like, I'm that much closer to publishing my book. Or if you're ready to go on a venture to create your own business, start your own business, and you're that much closer each time where you can say see you later to what you're doing now. Yay. It's just so reinforcing. So that's really it. Join the 5 a.m. club, because I'm telling you, the 5 a.m.ers are the high rollers, authentic, happy, and living on their highest vibe disc, living their best lives. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the beautiful Northern Vermont, in my Zen den, have a mindful day.